I'm an attorney for 7 of the plaintiffs in this case. There's a couple of reasons why we are having this press conference. The first is that after this case settled, there was a press release that was put out by Lucky Gunner that says some things that we want to clarify. The first thing is that they issued a press release saying that this case was dismissed and then settled. And the truth of the matter is the case was settled and then dismissed. And that's how 99.99% of the cases in Texas, that's the course for what happens. The second thing is that in this press release that Lucky Gunner did, they suggested that they were attacked by Everytown Law, who was put up to this and was funded by Michael Bloomberg. This case was not funded by Michael Bloomberg, and while we did, in this case, have the pleasure of working with Everytown, and they were a very vital part of our team, this case was filed by me to start off with. And my wife and I funded this case. Our kids were at the school, my son and daughter, when this shooting happened. And so we felt like it was the right thing to do to get involved in this case. And then we have some very other fine lawyers, Sherry and Lewis Chandler, Alton Todd, Larry and Tyler Tilka, Daryl Atfeld, Blake Atfeld. Have I got everybody in there? And then our friends from Everytown. They were involved in this case. And so the case has come to a conclusion. The case has settled, as in the news. We are very pleased to announce that Lucky Gunner, which is an online ammunition seller, has agreed to perform age verification of ammunition sales throughout the United States, including Texas. And if the person or the purchaser, if their age cannot be verified or they're not 21 years old, they are declining the transaction. And we're very excited about that. And one of the other things that we wanted to accomplish, since we're having this press conference, is to bring attention to the fact and ask our governor and our attorney general and our lieutenant governor to do something. And that is, in the state of Texas, while there is a law saying that you have to be 18 or older to acquire and possess handgun ammunition, there is no law requiring proof of age when you acquire the ammunition. So if you are going to buy tobacco products, there is a law in the state of Texas that says that for each retailer, they have to verify proof of age for anyone under the age of 30. There are penalties associated if they wind up selling tobacco products to someone under the age of 21. There is no good reason why there is not a law in the state of Texas that requires ammunition sellers, whether they're brick and mortar or whether they're online stores, to require proof of age before they sell ammunition. Those are the comments that I'm going to make. I want to turn it over to Scott Rice. He's going to make a few comments, and then maybe Rhonda Hart is going to make a few comments, and then we'll answer if anyone has any questions. Thank you all very much.
Hello, my name is Scott Rice, S-C-O-T-R-I-C-E. I'm here with my wife, Flo, F-L-O. Thank you for coming. Flo was shot 6 times here at Santa Fe High School on May 18, 2018. Today is a huge milestone for us all. Ever since that day, we've been working to make schools safer and to hopefully prevent another school shooting. And by doing so, saving other families from going through what we have endured. It was just last week that we received the news that our shooter would remain in the mental hospital in North Texas for another year. This was not a huge shock to us, but it was another time that the Band-Aid was ripped off and salt was poured in the wound. Nearly 5 years have gone by with no hope of ever going to trial. 5 years for families that lost a loved one, and 5 years that the survivors like Flo have no answers. They don't have autopsy reports as to how their loved one died or how long they waited for help to come. Also, we don't know what went wrong and what could have been done to fix this. This is because all the evidence is sealed until we have a trial, which may never come in this case. There's a bill right now presented by our Senator, Mays Middleton, that would allow the loved ones or survivors of a murder or attempted murder to see the evidence of the crime without tainting the prosecution's case. This bill is numbered SB 435, and we thank him for writing it, and we wholeheartedly support it. The reason we're here today is to set the record straight. This lawsuit was brought by families and survivors of the Santa Fe mass shooting. It was not brought by Michael Bloomberg or Everytown Law. Everytown Law did provide crucial work and support for our litigation team, and we're thankful for that. This is not an anti-gun or Second Amendment issue for us. Many of us, including myself, are gun owners. This is about accountability. This is groundbreaking, first-of-the-kind agreement. The Santa Fe shooter was able to go online and purchase ammunition from Lucky Gunner, even though at the time he was 17 and was not legally entitled to have it. This case was up against insurmountable odds, and this agreement is a testament to our great team, especially Clint McGuire, who started this whole thing and got all the information that was needed to prosecute this or to move it forward so that we could get to this point. Now, Lucky Gunner has put in place a system to maintain an age verification system at the point of sale on all ammunition. We are now calling on all other online ammunition sellers to follow suit and implement their own age verification system. We're also calling on the governor, just like Clint mentioned, and Lieutenant Governor, our state legislators, to take note and make it a Texas law that any company doing business in Texas selling online ammunition must verify the purchaser's age. Thank you for your time.
Hi, my name's Rhonda Hart, R-H-O-N-D-H-A-R-T, and I haven't been back to this school in 5 years. The last day I was here was the day of the shooting, and just behind me, Kimberly she walked by me and I said, "Bye, I love you." And then about an hour later, the gunman entered her classroom, and 10 people were shot, and then 13 more were injured. I just want to say how grateful I am to Clint McGuire and my attorney, Alton Todd, for starting this lawsuit and reaching out to me so that I could be taken in under their wings. I always like to say support the locals, and this is totally the case. I'm grateful that Lucky Gunner has had a change of heart and has changed their policy. If they had made changes like this in the past, Santa Fe would not have happened. And again, I'm just grateful for all of the amazing folks that we have back here and all the support that I've gotten recently. So thank you very much.
I think that's all we have. Does anyone have any questions?
Do you know how it will work? How they'll, like in an online situation, how they would verify age?
So there are multiple ways that online sellers in a host of different ways can verify age. There's government issued ID. There's third-party vendors that do it, and these things are going on and are done in other industries.
Is it immediate? Does it when does it start going into effect? You know?
So Lucky Gunner is doing it as we speak.
This is a pretty big deal. I mean, that you were able to accomplish this.
Well, what I would say in response to that is it is a very big deal that the victims have accomplished. They had to put themselves out there. They were vulnerable. The system has been very hard, and they showed the strength and courage to see this through. They're criticized. People were suggesting this was a Second Amendment case, that we were trying to take people's weapons from them. As Scott, I'm a gun owner myself, and that's not what this case was about. This case is about safe storage, and this case is about making sure that ammo sellers only sell their ammunition to those who are legally supposed to have it. And so, yes, we feel like this is a very big deal, and we are very pleased that Lucky Gunner is doing this, and we call on all ammunition sellers, brick and mortar or online, to be responsible and do just that. And we also call on our elected officials to make it a requirement so that businesses don't have discretion, so that if they are going to sell ammunition, there is a proof of age requirement. That is not too much to ask, and there's no better time than the present. We don't need to wait until the next shooting to start taking these actions. We elected them to do something. Inaction is not good enough. And so, yes, we're super proud of what we've accomplished here, and so I appreciate the comment.
So what does this settlement really signify other than the company doing a better job of enforcing its own policies on verifying age of purchaser?
Well, that's exactly what it does. And because these families, and Flo and Clayton and these others, the Yarbrough, because they did this, we'll never know how many lives they saved. But we know they're going to save lives, because there's a reason why those under 18, why the law says they should not have handgun ammunition. And so this case is about safety. That's what we wanted to do, make it safer for our schools and for our communities.
Because the case hasn't been in trial, you talked about some of the difficulty, or I think Scott talked about the difficulty in learning information. Was it difficult to learn how he was able to purchase this ammunition?
The short answer is no, it wasn't difficult for us to determine how it was that the shooter obtained his ammunition.
Now, does this settlement in any way establish anything to help prevent gun violence?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear. Somebody has their...
Does this settlement in any way establish anything to help prevent gun violence?
Well, yes. If you don't have the ammunition to fire the gun, then you can't fire the gun. So it doesn't stop somebody from going and hitting somebody with a hammer or stabbing someone, but it does stop those who should not and who are not legally entitled to have ammunition from getting it and then going on these crime sprees.
What did you learn through this case? How was he able to purchase the ammunition?
He went online with an Amex cash card on, I believe, March 6th of 2018 and purchased the ammunition in his own name and had it shipped to his own address. And it was shipped to his own address, and less than 2 weeks later, he made a second purchase of 38 special handgun ammunition.
If state leaders don't take action on this, what's your next move?
Well, our next move is we're going to be mourning with the next set of families that have to deal with stuff like this, because it's going to happen again. And you know, I was thinking about this earlier. I saw that the governor had issued this tweet, which was very comical, saying that the Dallas Cowboys kicker, he could kick as good as he could when he missed 4 extra points in a row. And I thought to myself, I watched the next game and I watched that kicker make adjustments, because he realized if he kept doing the same thing over and over again, he was going to keep missing those extra points and field goals. We can't keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting to make the field goal here. It's the definition of insanity. We have to start making changes. So my answer is, I don't want to answer the question because I know that tragedy, we're going to go to the next Uvalde or the next school shooting. And unfortunately, you can't stop all of these things, but you can take steps. Rome wasn't built in a day, and we have to start taking some action. We already have a law on the books that says it's illegal to sell to an 18-year-old or less than 18, or for an 18-year-old or less, actually, so 17 or younger, to sell or possess handgun ammunition. We need a law that puts teeth behind making sure they don't get it, just like with tobacco products.
Scott, you had mentioned 5 years. It's been 5 years. I mean, you still don't really see justice in the foreseeable future. I mean, how do you kind of keep going through something like that?
That's really hard. It has been a long road, you know, and you've interviewed us before. You know that we're always out there working hard because we didn't want Uvalde to happen. We worked hard 4 years ago for SB 11 to be passed, and when we found out it didn't have any teeth, you know, to hold anybody responsible for the laws, we believe if they had done their work, then Uvalde would never have happened.
The Senate bill that you mentioned, what exactly would that do? Do you know?
So it's retroactive to back in time and to current, that people like us and any other survivor, like your child was killed in a murder and it's tied up in court for years, you can actually go to the district attorney, see all the videos, see the body camera video, and see all the evidence, but it doesn't become public knowledge, like you guys wouldn't be entitled to it, and it doesn't have anything to do jury tampering or anything like that. So,
what would that kind of do for you and other victims?
well, not for Flo per se, but for the other parents who lost their child that don't have any of the records of what the last moments were of their life, and did they suffer, you know, what time did they die, and they don't have any information. How did the shooter get in the school, and how long did it take for the whole thing to transpire? There's just no information for us.
You get some answers.
And with those answers, we can also change school safety. Maybe we should learn from this, right? And keep things from happening like Uvalde. Thank you.
Thank you all so much. With this settled, what other lawsuits are any of you a part of, and what's their status?
Well, I guess as a plaintiff's lawyer, I'm involved in a bunch of lawsuits, but specific to the gun industry and ammunition sellers, I'm not involved in any. I got involved in this case because my kids were at the school.
So a couple more things. First, Alton and Clint, is there any possibility you would represent these families to get some information, such as the autopsy reports being available for the family?
Oh, certainly, and we'll do anything for any of these families that we can.
Now, for the families, what are y'all doing collectively or individually to see the case come to trial?
Okay, so hi, Rhonda again. I kind of want to expand on your question about the autopsy reports. A few weeks, maybe it was a month after my funeral, I asked my funeral director, I said, hey, could you, you had prepared my child for her burial. Could you tell me like what her injuries were? And he said, Rhonda, you don't want to hear that from me. And, God bless Mr. Crowder at Crowder Funeral Home. And so I wrote a letter to the medical examiner and I asked for the official report. And I got back a Xerox copy of a form letter with no sympathy, no empathy, no I'm sorry, no dear Rhonda, no nothing. And it said, you are not entitled to this information because of this case law and that case law and this number and that number. And it was dreadful. It was so bad I threw it in the garbage. I wish I had kept it because then I could show you how inhumanely we had been treated. And that was, 4 or 5 years ago that I got that letter. And now we're in this hamster wheel cycle of In 2020, our shooter was deemed mentally incompetent, and every spring he gets reevaluated and reevaluated, and he's still mentally incompetent. And so as long as he remains breathing in his mental health facility, our case is still open. And Texas law says that as long as the case is still open, we're not allowed to have that information from the medical examiners. Now with Uvalde, their shooter was killed on site, and so they've had the privilege and the respect given to them to sit down with their medical examiner and generally know where their child was shot. I still don't officially know if Kimberly was shot from the behind or from the front or with what weapons and at what time. I know generally where she was sitting, but that's it. And so if we got those reports, it would just give us a sense of closure. I mean, as a parent, as a mom, I was actively involved when she came into this world, right? I had a front row seat. And I don't know how she left it. I can't find out. And it's exhaustive. And how do we make it through the day? I'll be honest with you, sometimes it's medication therapy, and support from my family and friends. So to your whole question, this 435 bill, we are working, a bunch of us are working with the Office of Mays Middleton, and as soon as we know what committee that bill is going to get sent to, we are asking people, all of our friends and family and all different organizations that we know across the state of Texas, to please call these certain senators, and we need that whole committee to support that bill, and then after that we need a 2/3 majority of that Senate. And I can't express to you enough how important this is, because this bill existed last session, but they were worried about secession and playing the national anthem before sporting events and bathroom bills and trans kids playing sports. And like, there's so much bigger fish to fry. It's just 10 folks, but it matters so much to us. And so, yeah, we're actively working with them. I actually just got an update from Senator Middleton's office this morning. So hopefully we'll, my goal is to get there on testimony day and testify in Austin as to how important this bill is, and we'll keep going from there. Yeah.
Thank you all so much.